All right, everybody. We are now live streaming on YouTube. We want to welcome you to the very first session of Ignite Virtual 2.0. We have a great lineup for you today, and we have a great lineup for the next 3 weeks. Here's how things are going to work. I'm Broker Bob. I'm your audio visual coordinator for the day. In each day, we're going to have great instructors helping you present great material for you to help you move your business forward, especially during this market that we're in, coronavirus, and how they're navigating, how they're moving through it. Every instructor that we have is a great field of viewpoints and backgrounds and visions that they've done really well in the industry, and I've handpicked all of them, and I hope that you will be able to learn something from them. The format will run for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Tuesday and Thursday will be more instructional, and Wednesday and Friday is going to be what we call Coach's Corner. Now, Coach's Corner is going to be a series of where we'll have most, if not all, of our coaches in our company. We'll be talking about the activities that you should be following up with what you're learning in the training modules of Ignite. So they're going to be doing some role playing with you. They're going to be doing some follow-up. They're going to be making sure you're doing what we call income producing activities. And that's really important in this environment. It's, you can get by with doing activities every day, but are they going to actually produce income? And that's really kind of the goal of Ignite. So we also hope that you are hanging with us and being giving us a little more leeway. This is the very first time we've delivered Ignite virtually. And so we're going to do our best to make sure that we deliver quality material, quality content, and that you're taking something each and every day that you can actually implement into your business. And with that said, today what we're going to be going over is the database. And we have a great instructor to kick us off. Chris Spade and I actually met when I first came to Keller Williams. He was there just about a few months before me. So we've been brothers from another mother and sisters from another mister for a long time. And we've had the ins and outs of one market shift, 2008, where we had the real estate crash, real estate bubble. And now we're just having the joys and pleasure of a global pandemic and what this market is teaching us as well too. And all along the way, we've attended Bold, we've attended Mega Camp, we've gone to family reunion. I've shared a hotel with him, a hotel room with him. I've kicked him out of my hotel room. So we've had the gamut, but I'm really proud today because to have him teach the database. And I picked him initially for database because he really does a really good job with his database. And he learned that very early on in Keller Williams. If you are reading the Red Book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, or we call it the Red Book, the MREA, Gary Keller talks in there about the 4 laws of lead generation. And the 4 laws of lead generation, and if you don't know this, I want you to write it down. The 4 laws of lead generation are: build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it systematically, and provide great service to all the business that starts coming your way. So build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it systematically, and provide great service. Now they've changed the last one a little bit. I can't remember the verbiage on it, but they changed it a little bit, but it's the same thing. You just give great service, because the great service is going to come back and pay dividends down the road, because you're going to be able to reap the rewards of not only repeat business, but referral business. And that's what Chris has done really well, is he's in, as I said, so 2006, 2007, so he's in his 14th year of real estate, and he's really reaping the benefits of repeat and referral business. And you'll find that he's very communicative with his database. He's very strategic. He has a strategy in place, and that strategy he'll go over and review and share And all you have to do is just, follow the masters that we're going to present to you over the next few weeks. This is an interactive class. I will be monitoring the Zoom group chat. So if you have questions, you can put it in there and I will get them answered during the event. Since we are virtual, I wanted you to feel like you're actually in a classroom. Even though it's virtually, we want to make it interactive. So feel free to even, if you could, keep yourself muted, but if you want to say something, you could either raise your hand or unmute yourself. Just be aware you don't want to interrupt the instructor while they're in the middle of a thought because it'll throw them off track. In other words, just be kind and be aware that, we want to get your questions answered. Just, you can put it in the group chat, or if you do want to speak, we would love you to unmute yourself and then ask questions and do some interactive with the instructor as well. And then any other stuff we'll kind of learn as we go along the way. Seems we have we're up to 24 participants so far. That's a great size for Ignite. Again, 3 weeks, 4 days a week. So we hope that you all participate fully for the next 3 weeks. Usually Ignite is done in we've done it in a couple months, but we thought we'd do a really Ignite 2.0 and make it go really, really fast to get you ready for the fall that's coming up so you can start counting on Christmas dollars in your stocking. So without further ado, welcome, Chris Spade.
For the record, Robert did not kick me out of his room. He snores so loud, I chose to leave. There was a difference. So I just wanted to clarify that first. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that all of you who do not have your faces up, it is because you haven't showered today. So good on you. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I just wanted to kind of kick this off. We're going to follow somewhat of the format that is in the manual that you guys have. And if you've got it on your laptops or whatever, I'm working very virtually, so I'm trying not to print out any paper. So we're going to go over that book. And if you guys could, in that book, turn to page 15 in your manuals, where it specifically says to get your head in the game. And let's talk about that for a second, because this whole page right here is going to lead me up to how we are going to effectively work with our database. So it says at the end of day one, Ignite, or at the end of day one, you committed to adding 200 contacts or names to your database, and we need to get into the whys and hows. So as this says, if you use email, and who doesn't, you undoubtedly are inundated with notices from companies whose websites you have visited and ordered from them, such as Amazon or Zappos or Bed Bath & Beyond. Also, when you buy groceries with a membership card or shop at Target with their branded card, they're collecting information on you. And there's a reason they're collecting information on you. So do you guys have any idea why they're doing that? You guys can unmute yourselves if you want, but do you guys have any idea why they're doing that? Anyone?
To stay in touch with you, make sure they can get repeat business, to keep talking to you and build their database.
Yeah, the big reason. Well, once you have entered all your information, right, you're already in their database, so you can get inundated. And how many times a day do you guys get alerts from Target or Amazon? I'll give you an example. I just bought a rug for my house from Target, and I just got it delivered yesterday. It looks fabulous, by the way. But ever since I placed my order with Target, which was about a week ago, and I found this rug I wanted to buy, I've now all of a sudden gotten an email from Target every single day. And in some cases, I've gotten 2 or 3 emails from Target in a day. And every time my package made a stop in a different city. Now my rug came from New Jersey and it arrived at my doorstep yesterday in San Diego. So each step along the way, I got an email saying, hey, your rug's in Pennsylvania, and now it's in Oklahoma, and it's in Indiana. And so every step of the way, I got an email. Not to mention that, I also was getting emails along the way as the rug was coming with different accessories that I might want that could potentially match my rug, right? Like things I wanted to buy to accessorize my house with. So what Target has done is they want to keep me in their web, and they want me to keep coming back to these emails. Now, I'm a fan of Target, I'm a fan of Amazon, so I keep those things around. There's a couple other things that I order from on a regular basis, so I keep those around, and they're always constantly emailing you. And the biggest reason they do that is to make sure that you have mind share. So if it's that you need something, you know, hey, I'm going to go to Amazon for XYZ. I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that I do on a regular basis is I will go and I will start loading my cart up at Amazon for things I need, and I primarily do that so I stay out of Target. One of the reasons I don't want to go to Target is how many of you get through the doors of Target and it's almost like entering a kingdom and you just want to buy everything and you end up walking out with crap you don't need. I know Alicia can relate because she does that all the time. So I will load up my cart on Amazon and I get stupid things like toothpaste for 3 months, and I'll do toilet paper and all that stuff because I know if I end up in those stores like Costco and Target, I'm going to end up buying that stuff. But Amazon is constantly sending me reminders going, hey, your shop and save is coming up, right? They're like, you have set this for 3 months out. So then I get the opportunity to go to my cupboard and go, you know what? I've got enough paper towels to last me another month. I will get the order starting next month. And so you can go back in. And they do that because they want to loop you in because they want you to add more crap to your cart. So we kind of want to do the same thing as real estate agents. We don't want to sell crap to our clients, but what we want to do is we constantly want to remind them that we're in real estate. So we're going to talk about the ways that I've done that. We're going to look at this manual because the manual itself is a good guide. However, I do a lot of things differently to remind my clients that I'm in real estate because the truth is, in this business with social media, with email marketing, with the fact that you can make phone calls or text messages through command, there's so many things that you can do every single day to reach out to your clients. And so we're going to talk about the things that I do. And eventually, I'm going to ask Robert to make me a co-host so I can share my screen so you guys can see what I do. And then if you choose to set your business up this way, and this is great. If you choose not to, that's fine too. You won't offend me. But let me just tell you, I do not make cold calls. I do not call expireds. I do not call for sale by owners. I do not door knock. Not that you can do that anymore. I used to do open houses, and quite honestly, I started getting tired of them because they're a lot of work. And so this pandemic has taught me that I can actually increase my business, which I've actually done year over year, 200%. From this time last year to now. So I've increased my business 200% without really doing any open houses. I think the last open house I did was around March 9th before we got our shutdown orders. And quite honestly, I don't plan on ever doing another one. I'm getting rid of all that crap because I've realized I can increase my business doing it just this way by working my database and sphere of influence. So we're going to talk about that. So on page 16, it talks about target marketing, and we touched on that very, very briefly. So what we want to do is not only do we want to provide value to our clients, but we want to entertain them in such a way that they see us as a human being and they see us as a resource. So let me explain a little bit. So prior to myself getting into real estate, in December, it'll be 14 years that I've done this. But prior to getting into real estate, I was in television. and I was a journalist, and I spent 10 years doing radio and television. And when you're in that business, now I was a producer, so what I did was I wrote the newscast and I stacked it, and I did the content, and then when it was live on the air, I made sure it started and stopped on time. But one of the things that they always told us was, we want to make a connection with the viewer, and whether you realize it or not, the audience is making a connection with the reporters and the anchors, and so they feel comfortable walking up to them in public and introducing themselves because they feel like they know you on a very personal level. And so what I've done is I've taken that same kind of concept, only I've reversed it into real estate. What can I do to make people feel comfortable enough to approach me, or for them to just want to pick up the phone and give me a call? And so that's what we're going to do. And refer, right? Referrals are the lifeblood of business, because the bottom line is, if you've enjoyed an experience working with a client, let's say I'm working with Robert or Alicia to buy or sell a house, and I've enjoyed that experience, well, I know that they're good people, right? So I want them to refer me business. And so I'm going to make it known that I want to get business from them. And I'm going to ask them in such a way that is not only going to compliment them, but I'm also going to constantly ask them for business without them realizing I'm asking them for business. So, so we're going to target our message. Do you guys have any questions so far? None?
Yeah, when I just for the manual so I can follow along, like you said, page 16, is that like 2-16 when I'm reading it on this PDF, or I'm literally trying to look for a page that says page something?
All it says is page 16. It doesn't say, yeah, I don't know. It says, what is a target marketing campaign? I got the teacher's manual with all the answers. That's what I got.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that
Chris, their manual it does say 2- something.
Oh, okay. So then it might be 16. I don't know.
I also don't know where we are. I can't find it in the PDF either.
Let me cross-reference and I'll verify. So what's the page on 216? What's the page for your
216
manual, Chris?
It should say, what is a target marketing campaign?
Okay, let me verify if I've sent the right one.
Bob, if I may, it will probably help us when you do this, is you can walk us through how to get there. Because obviously there's a few of us that are struggling finding that right page.
Okay,
Thank you.
hold on. You know what I think I've done? I've given you guys an older version, and I should have covered this at the opening. Prior to the class, if you guys you've all been given instructions on how to go access the manuals and download them. Make sure that you do that. I'll have them each week, but it would help if you guys can make sure you guys bring them as well too, because that's going to be part of your homework, is to go through the session materials prior to the class so you have some familiarity. So I'll bring that in. Just hold on and go ahead, Chris.
All right. It also looks like Robert put the PDF in the chat box as well. So if you guys go in the chat function, there's a PDF in the chat box that you can follow along.
Well, don't use that PDF yet.
Don't use that PDF. Apparently someone screwed up.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk for a second about what a database is, because that's really, really important. So according to the manual, when you get the right one, a database is a tool that centrally stores customer and prospect information, which is regularly updated with new details and events, and can be organized and sorted as needed, and it's continually added to. And so in a little bit, I'm going to show you what my database in Command looks like and how I've tagged people and how I've sorted them. And then what we're going to do later on is I'm also going to give you one of my smart plans that you're going to be able to implement. You're just going to have to put it in yourself, and you're going to have to tailor it to your specific voice. You don't want to necessarily use my voice when you and when I say voice, the way I talk to people. Alicia knows this. I'm kind of a smart ass. It's just my personality. That's who I am. I'm not
Say
all
it ain't
business.
so.
I am not all business. In fact, if this was not being recorded on YouTube, there might be an F-bomb that might be dropped on this call. So
Just FYI, I've uploaded the proper version of the Ignite materials. That was, so you have the updated version.
okay, thank you, Robert. So
Where? I'm sorry, where?
look in the chat function. Go down to the chat function, click that button, and there's a PDF right there.
Okay, thank you.
And Robert, can you make me a co-host, please?
You should be.
I'm not.
Hold on.
Okay, so your database, it's the most valuable asset that you have. So it's a list of, like we talked about, it's a list of contacts and a living record of your business. So let's talk about this for a second because I think this is important. So in 2014, according to the National Association of Realtors, 88% of clients say they would use their real estate agent again, but only 12% do. Why is that? Why do you guys think that is?
More than likely, they liked working with them, but they haven't heard from them in the last 5 years. And so when it came time to doing the business again, they didn't have your contact information. They haven't heard from you. So yeah,
And whose fault is that?
the agent.
Exactly. So let me tell you guys, the worst thing that you're ever going to experience in this business is when you drive by a house you sold to someone else and you're going to see another agent's for sale sign in the yard. And I guarantee you it's going to happen to you. And it's not your client's fault. It is 100% your fault. It has happened to me and it's happened on more than one occasion. And the last time it happened, I vowed that it would never happen again. And even though you do keep in touch with your clients, some of them will still use other agents to make purchases on their homes. You're just going to have to get over that. But one of the things that you're going to get to do is just remove them from your database and stop inviting them to parties. So that's fun too. Not that we can have parties right now, but anyway, you get my point. Yes, he is right that the big reason is because you are not the one that is keeping in contact with your database. So let's talk for a second about the importance of a referral. And what I want you guys to do is normally I diagram this out on a whiteboard when I'm teaching the class in person, but since we're not doing this, we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, which makes things a little bit more difficult. But I want you guys all to get out a paper and pen. And if you could do that, I'm going to diagram and I want you guys to write this down so that way you can see the importance of a referral. And you can choose to write my clients' names. I'm going to only give you first names. Or choose not to. It's up to you. You can do circles, X's, whatever you want. I don't care. But I want to show you exactly how many referrals and repeat business you can get if you keep in touch with your clients. So are you guys ready? Can you do this if you're ready? Okay, perfect. Okay.
She should be co-host now. Will you check that?
Let me see. Oh, I can mute you. Yes, I'm co-host now, which is
Perfect.
the big reason I wanted that. Okay, so let's talk for a second. So back in 2007, I became full-time real estate March 1st, 2007 at Keller Williams, and I've only been at Keller Williams. And prior to that, I worked in television. And just as I was leaving, I met, I had come off a 2-month hiatus before I left my TV job. And I met this woman that was one of our online journalists, and her name was Barb. And she was all excited to meet me and whatever. Anyway, I told her I was quitting, so I broke her heart immediately. But later on, after I got into real estate, I sold her and her partner a house. So I sold Kim and Barb a house. Well, Kim and Barb referred me to another woman. And this person already said that they had a real estate agent who is still in the community right now. So I won't name names. But this person said, no, she was working with this other agent, blah, 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 whatever. I wished her well. And about, I don't know, 3 months after that introduction, this person, my client, Carrie, calls me and says that that agent is unresponsive. And she ended up working with me and I sold her a house. Well, Carrie ended up having a housewarming party and she introduced me to my client, Adrian. Adrian eventually became my client, as well as Alex. These two women, and I sold them each one house. And then Barb and Kim also introduced me to Terry and Chris, two of their other friends, who, by the way, the woman that sold them their house was the exact same agent who wasn't returning phone calls to the other, my client, Carrie. So they ended up, they were trying to short sale their property. This other agent told them, no, just hang on to it, hang on to it. This is all temporary. Don't worry about this. By the way, the real estate market was crashing around everybody and people were being stupid and not advising their clients well. So I ended up doing a short sale on their home. Well, eventually, Chris referred me to her daughter, Jamie, who was not having luck with her agent. By the way, I've done now 3 transactions with Jamie. Then Chris referred me to her other daughter, April, who I have done 1 transaction with. And then Chris and Terry split up and I eventually sold Chris a house. Now, this is just keeping in touch with just this small group. Barbara and Kim ended up splitting up, so I ended up selling their house. Kim ends up in another relationship, and I end up selling Kim and her new partner 1 more house. Okay. Then I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, and then Jamie refers me Dawn in her apartment complex or in her condo complex in Golden Hill. I end up selling Dawn's condo. Who else has Jamie referred me to? I'm just trying to do this off the fly really quickly. I can't think right now. Anyway, this is just one example. I know there's more in here, but if you add these up, so far we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 transactions just out of this group. And there's actually more. It's actually like 18. If I really sat down and think about it, over the 13 years I've been in business, just this group of people have referred me approximately 18 transactions out of all of them. And that's because I've kept in touch with each one of them over the years. And I don't just do it and say, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know? I'm providing them some sort of value and I'm inserting myself into their lives. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how I end up doing that. But do you guys see the importance of really paying attention and working your database? Yes? Okay, perfect. So let's talk a little bit about how I do some of these things. So just a second. I am going to share my screen so you guys can see. Desktop share. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Yes? Okay, perfect. So anyway, this is my Facebook page. Okay, so there's a really great class that Keller Williams teaches in Fast Track Coaching. There's 2 classes that if you're going to spend the money on outside of what's taught to you in the Market Center, there's 2 I highly recommend. One of them is called Never Ending Referrals. It's a 5-month course, and I believe you're charged $39 a month for 5 months. The other one is called 50 Sales in 50 Weeks on Facebook, which my personal maps coach teaches. And that's, I think, is $200. And so if you're going to take 2 classes, those are the 2 that I've learned like the most from. And so one of the things this class taught me is 2 separate things. 1, you have to divide your database. And 2, you have to divide it in such a way that your messaging is not going to the same people for the same thing. So for example, Your messaging is for sellers, for someone who wants to sell their home. You're not necessarily going to message them about how to buy a home in this market. Their concern is, how do you sell a home in this market, and what does that look like for them? Now, if they're moving out of the United States or they're moving out of San Diego, what's it like to sell a home in San Diego and make a purchase of a home in another city? Or what is it like to have a concurrent closing when you're selling and buying a home at the same time? What does that look like so we don't become homeless? So those are the different things that you're going to send to them. So you're going to tailor your messaging differently, which is why you've always got to be coming up with content on what you need to be doing in order to push out the right things and the right message to the right people. So one of the things that this taught me to do is to go into your Facebook group and you divide up your friends list. So for example, over here on the left-hand side, when you're on your home screen, you're going to come down to friends list. And if you look, these are all my friends lists that I've got. And everybody is divided, including restricted and blocked. Everybody is divided into a different category. So your chef's list, your dinner regular, your dinner invite. So for example, your chef's list are the people that you are 100% sure that you would invite to your dinner table if you were going to have a party. Now, this list isn't huge. This list is probably maybe around 50 people, but they're going to be your top people that you would invite to dinner and that are influencers. They're a different type of influencer, but these can be your past clients. They can be your best referral source, so they don't have to be every single client, but they can be a very good referral source. Your dinner regular, those are the ones that you would invite to dinner if, and only if, there was someone on your chef's list that couldn't come to dinner at your house. So those are the people that your B team, they're going to be the ones that you replace with your A team if someone on your A team couldn't come. So if Alicia's on my A team and Alicia's like, no, dude, I got a date, I can't. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then Robert's on my dinner regular list. I will invite him into that list. And by the way, when you put people into lists, nobody knows that you're in these lists, but I'm going to show you how I work it. And I'm going to show you how I put stuff out on social media without you guys seeing it. Because again, you don't want real estate agents taking your content and we'll talk about that in a second. And then your dinner invite. These are the people that you're kind of keeping on the peripheral. They're kind of somebody you might see as an influencer, and you might think about moving them into your dinner regular, but you kind of want them to prove themselves first. You want to make sure that they're not the person that's going to come to your party and get drunk. That's who that person is. So you're going to go through and you're going to start commenting on their things. And here's the thing, you guys, by doing so, you're inserting yourself into their life every single day by commenting on their posts, by sending them messages. Now, for example, if I go into my chef's list, my aunt, for example, is one of those people, or my client Pilar. So she says, San Diego vacation in Mission Beach. You don't have to go far. I enjoyed a few days by the shore. I'm just going to go in and love. By the way, Pilar's referred me about 5 clients, and I have sold Pilar. I've done three transactions with her, and she's referred me at least 4 other clients, and I've closed at least 3 of the 4. So I can go and love her post, and I'm going to say, because this is true, looking forward to my staycation. Now, that wasn't much. That provided no real estate value whatsoever. It didn't do anything. But what it did was it inserted myself into her life, so I stay on top of her mind. Remember, I am not pushing real estate down the throat of any of my clients, right? Now, a lot of stuff is political. So Mario, by the way, Mario is my barber. And I've been going to Mario since 2004. He just came over to my house and cut my hair in my kitchen because I needed a haircut desperately. And when it came time for Mario to need to sell his house, I was the one that ended up selling it. And I have referred Mario probably like 8 different clients. And of those 8, there's probably like 3 of them that work in our office. And I was the one to end up selling his house. Eric, for example, I used to work with at the SDEBA. I used to be in the chamber of the LGBTQ and Ally Chamber of Commerce. Eric was one of the employees there. Eric has referred me business. So the people, and by the way, these people know a lot of, so for example, because he used to be in the SDEBA and he worked there for like 15 years, his reach is extensive. He knew at least, 5,000 people over the years just in that one organization. That doesn't include the number of people that he actually knows, outside of the organization as well, because he is also a photographer, he is an artist, so he hangs out in that theater realm because his partner produces plays. So you just have to think about who are these people with the biggest reach that you want to insert yourselves into their lives. And you do it very gently. Like, he talked about this spine today. And I just commented, oh my God, I love that. So this is kind of what I do to get my day started is I'm going, who are the people that have the most reach? By the way, Pilar, she's a retired art teacher. She teaches flamenco. Every time, obviously pre-COVID, but every time she had a party, I would go over to her house. People start, you start meeting people. Oh, how do you know Pilar? Actually, I'm a real estate agent. I sold her this house. And then people, immediately start feeling comfortable. And she's walking around introducing me to everybody. I mean, primarily she's trying to do that because she thinks I need to date somebody. That's her big thing. But, she's also out there introducing me to a lot of people. So she's got a lot of reach, right? So that's what you want to do for that. So you have to think about who are those people. Now, NAGLREP, that is the National Association of Gay and Lesbian Real Estate Professionals. So in there are a bunch of real estate agents all over the United States that I market to. One of the things that you guys want to do, and we're going to talk about this in a second as we go down the list, you're going to want to have real estate agents that you network and you market to on a regular basis that have the same level of interest that you do. So it doesn't matter. Now, NAGLREP is good because that is members of real estate agents at all different brokerages around the United States. It's not just Keller Williams. But this is one that I joined, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be a member of this. But anyway, I've gotten business from that as well. Hardcore, that's the gym I belong to. Right now, I just closed 2 transactions with one couple. I sold their condo over on 3rd Avenue. They went and bought a townhome over in Mission Valley. That just closed all last week. In fact, I deposited the second check yesterday. So for those 2, that was about $1.2 million just from that couple. So they sold a house and bought a house. I'm currently working with 2 other couples that go to my gym. And so, I keep in contact. So I have everybody I work out with goes in that hardcore fitness thing. And I'm just going in and gently inserting myself in their life. And even if they've left the gym, they're no longer members, I still keep in touch with those people. My sphere of influence, same thing. Influencers. Those are the people who have a lot of influence that are around me. So this could be people I used to work with in my former job, but I've also got another one you'll see down further, NBC peeps. So these are people I used to work with at NBC. I stay in front of my former colleagues that work in television and radio because they come to me anytime they need to do a real estate story. And so, leaving the news media, I've been on the radio probably 4 or 5 times. I've been on the news like, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. And more importantly, particularly from all my NBC people, I've probably closed like 10 transactions just from my former coworkers. And they bought and sold with me. So I can attribute over the years about 10 transactions from that. And from one of my clients, I've done 3 deals with one of my clients that I used to work with at NBC, plus her mother, and now her mother is going to put her home on the market and purchase a new property. So just from one of my former coworkers, that's 5 transactions. And we're about to do all that today. So there's an importance in all you have to do is gently insert yourself in their lives. Now, one of the things that I think is really important is one of the things they'll teach you if you eventually do take never-ending referrals is they teach you how to break up your database, and they taught this in Bold Pivot. This is called the DTD2, and it's called do the database times 2. But essentially what you're doing is you're reaching out to these people a minimum of 13 times a year. And so I do it on social media, but I also do it through my command. I do it through there, and I kind of stagger everything so you're not overwhelmed with it all at once. And you'll see what I do and some of the things that I do to do that. I'll go into my command and I'll show you how to do that. So this week is a short week for me because I'm taking off tomorrow through next Monday. So my week is F and G. So I'm going to go into everybody. What I've done is I go through my my Facebook page and I start pulling up everybody with the last name that has a last name that either starts with an F or a G, and they get dropped into that. So Barbara Gabriel. So Barbara is the aunt of my sister-in-law. And I didn't know Barbara for the longest time. I actually met her 4 years ago. But prior to meeting her, her and her husband, Brian, were moving from Portland to Austin. I actually met her in Austin, and she just messaged me. This was before I even knew her in face-to-face. We just knew each other on Facebook, and she's very funny. And right now she's just on a Trump rant, so she's a big-time liberal. But she just messaged me and said, hey, Brian and I are moving to Austin. We need to sell our house in Portland and we need to buy a house in Austin. Do you know agents in these cities that can help us? And so I referred her to an agent in Portland and I referred her to another agent in Austin, and I got referral fees on both those deals. And, you know, in total, that was probably, I don't know, $5,000 between the 2 deals, but it's $5,000 that I got because I keep in touch with people. So keep in mind, if you just moved here or you're new to this business and you really don't know anybody and you just came to San Diego, you can still get a lot of referral business from, you know, collecting checks from outside of San Diego. So then what I'll do is, like this week, I'll go through and I'll start, you know, actually, you know, Barbara and I, we talk quite frequently. Just because of everything that's going on in, you know, the election and everything. But like Reba, for example, Reba's a out-of-town agent. I keep in touch with her. I've actually gotten a referral from her. Jamie, she's the owner of the gym that I go to, so I'm talking to her all the time. Troy, he's in several of my categories because he is not only a member of the Keller Williams Rainbow Network, which is the LGBTQ network through Keller Williams, but I also keep track of him here. Plus, I keep track of him in a category where I call out-of-town agents. So all I'm going to go through here, like, okay, what did Rhonda do? Mango, pear, tropical, blah, blah, blah. A shot, Forte juice bar coming soon. Okay, so Rhonda, who's an out-of-town agent, is pressing her own juice. Oh my God, looks delish. Deliver. One of the things I always like to do is ask a question. I want to get banter going back and forth, right? But look, this person here, Mika Black Girl Akies, That shit nasty. Okay, well, I like her already. So I'm going to laugh at her stuff. Now, the reason I do that and I start engaging other people on here is what Robert talked about in the beginning is we have to grow our databases. So what we have to do is how many times have you commented on something or you've gotten tagged in a post and somebody commented on something that you've been tagged in? What do? You go stalk those people, right? I mean, like, I'm always interested in people who are commenting on my stuff, especially if they're hot. Like, you know, if they're good looking, then I want them in my world, right? That's being facetious, but you kind of get where I'm going with this. You want to start adding people to your database. So you want like-minded people in there. Remember, we talked about Alicia. I want to do business with Alicia. I want to do business with people I know, like, and trust. And because I like Alicia, Alicia knows people like her, right? So this is kind of the same thing. Michael, this guy is just a character. He's just a character. Let's just put it that way. I mean, he amuses me every time he posts crap. So anyway, I'm going through and I'm making some sort of comment on all these people's stuff, like Scott, who is an agent out of town. This is pretty funny. So there's all these kinds of things that you can go with. So this gives you an opportunity to go through that. Now, let me backtrack for just 1 second. If you've got a lot of Facebook friends, I've got close to 3,000. I'm increasing it, but I'm also taking people off my list that I choose not to have there anymore. And so the way I do this and the way I make it simple for myself is every day you go to tell somebody happy birthday. I go through and I'm like, okay, I first of all go down the list and go, do I want these people still sticking around? And then sometimes you're going to come across a name and you're like, who is this person? You'll click on their profile and you're like, they haven't posted to Facebook in 2 years. They're out, right? So you're going to get rid of them. So why waste your time on a happy birthday if they're not even on social media to see it? So that's how you oust them. Then what you're going to do, and I'll show you what I've done with Robert in a second, I'll show you how you add them to these different lists and how you can keep track of them. So every day you're going to go into your chef's list, your dinner regular, and your dinner invite list. I go into hardcore, my sphere, and my influencers, and then I go to my letters every single day, whichever letter it is. You don't have to do it all. And let's say I go in there and somebody hasn't posted in a while, I'll probably just go send them a private message. And your private message can be just as simple as saying something like, hey, haven't talked to you in a while or seen you on social media. I was just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Trust me, if you text that person, you can text them, you can send them a message on Facebook, you can do whatever you want. You are definitely going to get a response from that because people are going to know that you cared about them. Allied resources. So these are all the people that I work with that are inside the real estate realm. So every single lender I work with, every single title rep I'm Facebook friends with, every single stager I'm friends with, whatever it is, those people all go under Allied Resources. And let me tell you, this has gotten me multiple pieces of business just because I've stayed in contact with my Allied Resources. Now, I have done deals on the sly. Trust me, this is all going to go on the DL because there is no lender that's going to post on social media and say, Chris Spain is the best agent to work with. He sold me my house and da 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 da. They're not going to do that. And the reason they're not going to do that is because they're not going to alienate the rest of their business. But you want to keep in touch with these people. So just to give you an example, in 2017, I got 11 pieces of business from one lender. 11 pieces of business, and we closed all 11 of those transactions. So far this year, I've had one lender give me 3 deals this year. 3, just because I'm keeping in touch with that person. Now, I can't go out and say, thank you, John, for giving me these referrals, right? By the way, John's not his real name. I'm just making that up. It's actually not a he, it's a she that gave me the referrals. But so I'm going through and I'm keeping in touch with all these people. My former home warranty rep that used to work for Old Republic, she is now retired. So it's not Deborah Yatsko, but it was Brooke Havner. I ended up selling her house. So you have to understand that these people want love too. You just have to be able to provide them value and keep in touch with them. Check in on those people. Out of town agents. I just go through this thing every single day. What is it that I can provide of value to these people? Like Dimitri, he he's posting a lot about coronavirus because he's in Atlanta and he has a huge problem with his governor. So he's posting a lot about that. Sympathize with these people, right? Everybody's kind of in this weird space. I think right now it's okay for you to have, I think it's okay for you guys to take a side right now on politics and stuff like that. I don't post a lot of politics on Facebook, but what I will tell you is I think it's okay to take a side, because if people can't respect you for your views and you can't respect other people for their views, then you have no business doing business with them to begin with, right? But if you're like, I'm never going to work with anybody who supports Joe Biden, or I'm never going to work with anybody that supports Donald Trump, that's fine. Do that, because there's plenty of people out there that you can work with. So I go through this every single day. I haven't actually done it today because I had to jump on this call with you guys. So I'm going to go through this and I'm going to start, chit-chatting with these people, because I want to make sure that I am top of mind with all these people. Okay. And then, like I said before, I'm part of a network within Keller Williams, where so far this year I have closed 4 transactions within this network. I'm working on my 5th right now, and just last week I was referred 2 more pieces of business from this network. So figure out what your niche is within this. So if it's veterans, deal with veterans, or if it's mommies across the United States with Keller Williams, or if you have a common language, right? Whether it's Spanish or German or Polish or Chinese or whatever that is, find your niche and work that niche. What I wouldn't do is put yourself in 300 different Facebook groups. Just focus on that niche. And I'm telling you, you will get a lot of business out of it. The only thing you have to do is remain present in front of those people. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Does anybody have any questions before we take a break really quickly? Anyone?
Yeah, there was one in the chat box that I was wondering too. Katrina just asked, how long do you spend on Facebook each day?
Well, because I really have nowhere else to go, I spend a good probably 4 hours on social media at least. I spend a good minimum of 2 hours working on just what I showed you here on my Facebook page. And then, and then I take it one step further. So you guys have to understand that right now you're limited, and these people know you right now, right? Like, these people have some sort of idea of who you are. So for me to reach out to these people, this is not invasive or intrusive. Whereas for me, a cold call is that. If that's what you do, do it. I'm not going to knock it. It's just not my DNA. And so the first couple hours, I start getting on, I'll get on in the morning, like when I wake up and I'm having my coffee and just kind of check out what's going on. But I usually sit down at my computer about 8:30, and I'm going until probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock on social media. Now, that's just one aspect of it. So I'm going through this entire list. Then I'm also reaching out to my database in other ways, which we're going to also go over here in a few minutes, and I'm going to show you that. So via smart plans, we're going to talk about that. And then I also do things like I also look at them, find them on LinkedIn. We're going to talk about that, or LinkedIn and Instagram. So we're going to talk about that in the second half. But I would say overall on social media, it's not just Facebook. I'm spending about 4 to 5 hours a day, but I'm also, keep in mind, I'm creating content. I'm not looking at cat videos, right? So I'm going to show you my YouTube channel and some of the content I've created and how I push that out. What is the value that you can provide to your clients? And we're going to talk about that in the second half. Any other questions? I don't know where my chat feature went. Let me see.
That's it for now.
That's it for now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so why don't we do this? It's 10:55. Why don't we take like
We're going to start back at 11:02.
11:02. That sounds
I'll give
perfect.
everybody 7 minutes. So be back at 11:02, guys.
Chris Spade, you're the best.
And it is now 11:02. Let's make our way back to the classroom, guys. You had enough time to use the facilities, get a glass of water, get some coffee, stretch your legs. Kind of see in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself, what are you learning so far? What are you seeing today, and what has really stood out to you? Again, just unmute yourself if you want to speak about it.
I did. I liked the what I really liked and didn't even know was dividing people into those Facebook groups. That makes it so like convenient to just go, oh, today's my F and G's, okay, and you just go hit there they are. You don't even have to like type and search. That's awesome.
If there's anybody that's really mastered social media, including Facebook, it was Chris. He was an early adopter of it. So great news. What else did you guys learn?
Just to be better about like commenting and interacting with people.
Yeah. One of those 4 laws: communicate with it systematically. And systematically is what he's done, where he's broken it down A to F or whatever, and he's very systematized about how he does it. Now, it's not automated, but that's, sometimes it takes the personal touch when he's doing stuff like that. So that's good. Anything else? One more. Let me hear one more.
I would say just learning like what a database is exactly, and just learning what those terms are is really helpful, kind of on an elementary level. So good for me, at least.
So that's great. All these are great. Remember, guys, you're in business, and business requires customers, and customers need to be stored in a file like you would store documents. And you need to have those people stored some way. So building that database is really important. If anybody likes Broker Bob's, DJ Broker Bob, that was Gay Days Volume 4. If anybody wants to pick up that music online, Gay Days Volume 4, DJ Broker Bob. Now we're going to pass it over to Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
I don't think anyone's that desperate to listen to that music anymore. So I want to go back to Facebook for just a second. So I'm going to share my screen again so you guys can also get another idea of some of the things I do. So for example, if I want to specifically, let's say 2 things. One, let's say because this week is my F&G week, right? Boom, you go into your F&G. So these are just people in your list. And right now I've got 70 people. And let's say I want to say something absolutely profound and I want to show up in their list. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to comment on all these people's stuff. But when you go up here to type and write here, this post, this specific post, this is just going to go to your F and G categories, right? So it's only going to go to those 70 people that you've actually put on social media in this category. So the chances are that your interaction is going to be lower, but because you've spent time with them today or whenever it is, you are going to get more interaction on that, and you're going to insert yourself into those people's lives a little bit more. Okay, Does everyone get that? And when you go back to your home screen, for example, now let's say I want to make a comment, but what I want to do is, and I do this a lot, I want to exclude all of you because I don't need you guys chiming in as real estate agents to get, you know, to get the comments going. I know what's on the market. I know everything that's going on. But if I'm lead generating and I'm trying to find a house for these specific clients, I'm going to go and type looking for XYZ who you know that's thinking of selling blah, 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 right? And as you can see here, you know, I'm posting this to my newsfeed, that's checked and it says public. My Facebook page is open, by the way. What I don't understand is you guys are in business. So I'm of the opinion you want everybody, you want your life to be an open book because remember we talked about developing that relationship with people online. You want to do that. But so my Facebook feed is public. However, when I want to eliminate you guys, I have a category that says friends except real estate agents. And I will eliminate each and every one of you off that post completely and altogether. Because like I said, I don't want you guys commenting on stuff I already know. I already know that Alicia's got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for sale in North Park. And my client said, you know what, the kitchen sucks. And I don't want to hurt her feelings that the kitchen's terrible. So I'm just eliminating all of that right away, right? And the other thing I'm eliminating is my client, who I've tagged in this post, reaching out to you to go, oh, tell me more about that house. Like I haven't already showed it to them, right? And so I don't want to run that risk that my client's going to go off the grid and go somewhere else. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's talk for a second about how I organize a database. And I'm going to show this to you very gently. I'm not going to actually open up a contact because the last time I did that, it turned into a disaster. So we're not going to go there, but what I am going to do.
Chris, I'm sorry for interrupting, but could you go back to how do you create a list of the people you want not to receive that particular post? How do you create that realtors list?
All right, you go to this button here where it says public.
Yeah.
Click on that and you go friends accept.
That's automatically in Facebook or you created that?
No, it's in Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it will pull up all your lists, but since I have a ton of them, it takes a while. It'll pull up all the lists and I just click the one I don't want.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, so hold on one second. I'm going to stop this screen share real quick so that way we don't have any confusion about what you guys are going to do. One second. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a contact to social media, or I'm adding a contact to my command database. Now, I'm adding Robert and Robert's email. And then I'm going to add his phone number. Okay, I'm the owner of it. Now, if you get this through social media, by the way, on command, which is another way I get a lot of my leads, then this automatically gets tagged as a lead. But let's say Robert came to me through Alicia. Alicia, I sold her a house. She says, you got to talk to Broker Bob, and he wants to buy a house. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to do a couple things. And as you can see, I've got all of these different types of tags in Facebook. And the reason I do that, so I've got all my letters. So I'm gonna put him under the S's, which will come up somewhere. S-O-I, S and U. So I'm gonna put him under the S and U because his last name is Sean's. Plus I'm gonna put him under buyer. And then I'm gonna put him under referral. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to know where the source of the business came from. And I also want to know how I'm going to choose to market to Robert. Okay. And then as far as additional information, I'll put whatever I can in there, but I will always try to find him on Facebook. So I'll go and put in his Facebook URL. And then if I do know what his home address is, I'll also put that in there as well. But then what I'll do is I'm going to create the contact. All right, so that phone number is wrong. So we're just going to fix it real quick. I'll just put my phone number in there. Okay, we'll do that. It'll probably say it's assigned to a thing. Okay, so now I'm going to go back here. I'm going to stop sharing so that way there is no confusion. So I'm going to go find Robert. 1 second. Okay, so now I'm finding Robert, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add him to specific smart plans. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is because within Command, there are certain smart plans, but I'm just I'm showing. I've created my own smart plans, which are getting a lot of a lot of response. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that, he's got his neighborhood, Hillcrest, and there's a method to my madness. So anyway, then we've got all of this, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's all in there. But then I'm going to go to smart plans. And this was probably the most genius thing I've ever done, but it was probably the single most stupid thing I've ever done. I created a smart plan. And what I did was I made a total mistake, but this total mistake actually turned into like this beautiful thing. And you can't rename this, so this is going to be an old smart plan. But what I've done is I've started this smart plan that, let me just go to the smart plan so you guys can see them. Smart plans? No. Which ones are smart plans? Campaigns. Which one of these? Oh, they're there. Okay. So what I did was, so I've got one specifically for Facebook leads. So I'm going to give you guys that today. I'll put it in the chat box at the end, so you guys can at least have a Facebook smart plan in place. But then this is my smart plan for part of my sphere. So, are you guys using Twilio right now? Do you guys know what that is? Okay, so Twilio is a texting app that works with Command. There is a cost for it, so there's always got to be 20 bucks on your account in order to connect your Twilio account, and it will automatically send text messages on your behalf. Now, this works really well if you've got Facebook leads, because what it will do is it will text them several times. You're still going to have to call these people, but it will text them several times. But it comes from a completely different phone number that's not your own. So if it's some rando that you don't know, it actually works out well, and you will see that the messages get sent. But what I did very foolishly, because these are my clients, is my first activity in my smart plan says send an SMS message, right? So the first thing says, hey, it's Chris, your favorite realtor, just checking how things are going. Well, all this I put, over several days, I put people into this text message and it automatically goes out. And all of a sudden I'm getting all these alerts on my phone from the Kelly app, and they're from all my clients going, hey, I'm doing fine. What happened? Did you change your phone number? And then I realized, oh my God, you're such an idiot. You shouldn't have done that, because everybody now thinks that you have a brand new phone number, which is not the case. You do not want them to have your Twilio account number. But then it became the best thing possible, because over the course of like 4 days, I had about 130 conversations just through that text message service. And when I was reaching back out to my clients, I'm like, oh, my bad. I said, I bought a program so it was easier for me to text from my laptop versus my phone so my thumbs don't get tired. And this is actually my assistant's phone number. Spoiler alert, I don't have an assistant. So anyway, I ended up getting all these text messages back, and over the course of a week, I had multiple conversations about real estate, and I was able to check in on all my clients, which was great because I got like 3 leads from that whole thing. So you might want to do this, you know, kind of like sending a blank envelope, you know, and having one of your clients open a piece of mail that's got nothing in it. They're probably going to call you or text you and say, hey, what's up? And then you can say, oh, I forgot, I'm sorry, blah, 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 I don't know what happened. But that was probably one of the best stupid things I've ever done. But so I can avoid that in the future, I recreated the smart plan. I took this part out, and now I have to physically send the text message myself. So that was kind of my big mistake from that. This smart plan, I'm just kind of playing with. But let me give you an example of what this looks like. So the first one, they get a text message, right? That's not intrusive if it's your client. They know you. I know Alicia, right? I'm going to text her. Chances are she's going to reach back out to me. If she doesn't, that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. Second thing is, I've already got pre-canned emails set. Hope this finds you well. COVID sure has thrown us for a loop, hasn't it? Millions of Americans had the opportunity to hit the pause button on their mortgages to help ease the burden of the pandemic. That's good. But now many are finding themselves not able to make their mortgage payment. I made a YouTube video about that and the types of forbearance we are seeing. Is there someone you know who could be watching this? Will you forward it to them? Right? Now, a couple things that you notice about it. I've got a YouTube link in there that will go back directly to my YouTube channel. Is there someone you know that should be watching this? Question, right? But then I also make either a grammatical or spelling error in every email I send, so that way they know it's coming from a human being. Will you forward it to them? Should technically have a question mark. Now that's like, for me, looking at nails on a chalkboard, but when I get an email with a mistake in it, I know it came from somebody personally, and it looks like I took the time to write this email out specifically. This one, especially to all my former coworkers I used to work with, you know, in the journalism realm, they're all sending this email back to me going, you have a grammatical mistake in there. That's perfect. I know they read the email, okay? So my suggestion, make a mistake in your email. Moving on, this one's created task. Make sure the client's contact info is completely up to date. So now I'm going to go back into each one of my clients' contact info when this task pops up. I'm going to make sure I have their name, address, birthday, anything that I've got. I want to make sure that I have them in it. It's not necessarily a touch, but it's me making sure that I'm keeping in touch with them. Another thing, make sure we're Facebook friends. Check to see that we're Facebook friends, and put them on the DTD2 list. So I want to go through and go, okay, am I friends with Alicia on Facebook? I see that I am. Is she in the proper list? Because here's the thing, your clients don't need to hear from you every day, and they don't want to hear from you every day. But if you're contributing value to them somehow, or you're checking in on them, or you're like, oh my God, Bella's so cute. Oh my God, that was so funny. She was doing yoga. Ha 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 ha. You know, Alicia knows that you care immediately, right? So these are the kind of things that we do. I do send out cards. So I go to their Facebook page, I find a picture, I create a card. It's very simple. So these are the kind of things that I do to keep in touch with my clients. Is this making sense? Okay. Now, let's talk for a second about how you want to be able to stalk your clients on all your channels, right? So you do want to go through and you want to make sure that you're friends with them, not only on Facebook, but you want to be connected to them on LinkedIn, and you want to be connected to them on Instagram, and you want to be connected to them on Twitter. Now, I will warn you that Twitter is where I literally unleash on politics. So if you come to my Twitter page, be warned, I just literally unleash, and that's where I go. I get into fights with people, totally okay with that, have no problem with it. So if it bothers you, then we won't be doing any business together, and I'm okay with that. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that your clients are connected to your personal Instagram account and your business Instagram account. And the reason is because you need to remind them on multiple platforms that you are in the business of selling real estate. And so what you want to do is every time you're going out taking a video of a house you're showing, or whether you're doing a virtual open house or whatever it is that you're doing, you want to make sure that that goes up on your social media channels, your other social media channels, that it goes on your Instagram stories. You want to direct message them through Instagram. And you want to build your audience that way. And you want to find other realtors to follow on Instagram so you can build your business that way. So those are all different ways that you do this. And all of this stuff is very minimal. You're not spending a ton of money actually doing a lot of this stuff, right? You know, your LinkedIn account is free. You can reach out to people. This is where you go and post a lot of videos and things. So let's let me get out of my command. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Yeah, with the Instagram, why do you have a personal and a business? So do you not post much business? I mean, you said to definitely show them on your personal that you do still do this business, but why not just have that be from one account?
Because if you're constantly posting real estate on your personal page, then people are going to feel that you have no other life, and people only do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so if you can't show them that you have some sort of personality outside of your job, they're just going to think that you're completely boring. But if they see that you've got a personal account where you're hanging out with your friends, or you're playing with your niece and nephew, or, you know, your dog is doing stupid tricks or whatever, and then they're going to know that they have something to talk to you about and be more relatable to, versus just real estate. Because people, they want to see you as a trusted source, but they want to feel comfortable with you as well. And you want them to see you in your personal environment as well as your professional environment.
Thank you.
So have both. I would have both. Let's talk about, does everybody on here have a YouTube channel, by the way? Nobody? Better get one. So I've been doing YouTube now for probably, God, I don't know, like 10 years, I think. And I have something like over I think I've got close to 500 or 600 videos. I don't remember, 500 at least. Let's see if it tells me how many videos I've got. I have a lot, as you can see. They just keep going and going and going. And some of them have a lot of views, some of them don't have very many views, and that's okay. But what you want to do is you want to be using a lot of video to push out your content. And for example, like that mortgage forbearance video, that one I just did. And that's this video right here where I showed you in the email I sent out. So it's already gotten 19 views. So what you're going to want to do is stack up a bunch of videos, and then you're going to want to embed them in your emails. So that way you get your clients to not only go from Facebook to YouTube, or from their email to their YouTube, but then they can start perusing, and then YouTube is going to be suggesting a bunch of other videos that they should be watching on your YouTube channel. And if you do it right, You can also link certain videos back to your YouTube channel, or excuse me, back to them that they can just keep watching, and they can just, how many of you have ever just literally gone down a rabbit hole on YouTube? Like, there are nights I am laying in bed, and lately I am like finding so much joy in all these top 10 best Karen moments where people just have these freak out moments, whether it's over a mask or, you know, getting yelled at in the drive-thru of McDonald's, because I just look at people and go, you cannot be this ridiculous, but it makes me laugh my ass off. So this is kind of what I do. So this is what I want to have happen to people. I want them to get lost in a rabbit hole of Spade, and I want them to go down this trail. And I have literally gotten business from all my social media channels, because you never know who's watching and what you're putting out there. So this is where you put a lot of your content, and you're going to put out your virtual open houses. You're going to put out, you know, this one I just did, how to fight an appraisal, which I just loaded 2 hours ago. I've already gotten a view. Pandemic surge in the housing market, 27 views. Creative financing, mortgage forbearance, you know, find resources, how to feed a family of 4 for 50 bucks a week. You know, there are a lot of people who lost their jobs. Think of ways that you can provide value to people, and how a certain video has helped them. On the flip side, like agents you're trying to keep in touch with through your social media channels, you could upload a video that says, I failed this week hard with my clients, and this is how I did it, and this is what you should not do. If you received a video like that, would you watch it? If I told you, this is how I failed big this week in real estate, and I don't want you to make this mistake, watch this video, how I screwed up, and it cost me, you know, $1,000. Is that something you would watch? Well, that's something I would watch. If another real estate agent is telling me they screwed up and this is how they screwed up, then I'm going to watch that video, because I'm going to want to know how not to lose $1,000. Because it doesn't matter, real estate, wherever you are, whether you're in California or Arkansas, it's basically practiced the same way. It's just the structure is different and the contracts are different. So you want to provide that value. What you don't want to provide to other real estate agents, for example, that you're trying to keep in touch with, is you don't want to give them a market snapshot of San Diego. They don't care. They don't care about your open house in Alabama. They don't care that, you know, such and such a lender in Southwest Florida got your clients a great interest rate. None of them care, because guess what? I'm never going to work with that person. I don't care what the Austin housing market looks like. What is it you can do differently to set yourself apart, to provide value to real estate agents, so that way when they think of you in other parts of the country, what is it that you can give them? So you guys need to be thinking about those types of things as well. And, you know, like, I've got a lot of ideas. And by the way, a lot of these things I rip off and duplicate. It's called R&D. So if you see anything that I've done that you want to rip off and duplicate, just check out all the videos I did. I used to do market stats videos every Friday. Now I don't do any market stats videos because nobody ever watched them. But these are all a bunch of videos that I've made over the years. So you can see it's like we're going back 4 years, and I don't even know, 6 years. So we're going back a long time with these videos. So anyway, that is that. So basically what this is, you know, Gary Keller talks about in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent an 8x8 and a 33 touch. So an 8x8 is 8 touches over 8 weeks. A 36 touch is 36 touches to your clients over a year. With this social media strategy, you could literally be in your clients' faces 365 days a year without it being weird, because what you're doing is you're providing them value, you're providing them entertainment, you're providing them friendship. So you're providing them a lot more than what's going on in the real estate market. So what is, oh, Eric, I know you have a YouTube because I have watched you make videos and I've seen your videos. You do a very good job. What questions do you guys have? Anyone?
Chris, do you have somebody that helps you make your videos, or do you like produce those yourself?
I do everything myself.
What do you use to shoot your videos?
My iPhone.
Really?
It's not complicated. I
And
use right here. Everything, that video I just put up today, that was shot with my iPhone. I've got a mic that plugs into my iPhone. Oops, that's not it. I've got a microphone that plugs into my iPhone, and I've got it's not in front of me now, but I've got a tripod with a ring light that I put up. But right now I'm sitting in front of natural light. I use this little tripod if I have to, but this, guys, does not have to be complicated whatsoever. I edit everything in iMovie. It's very, very easy. Once you get it done, you just upload it. And just think about how can you entertain your clients, right? How can you entertain them? What is it that you can find that is going to hook them in and want to bring them into your world? And it doesn't always have to be about real estate. So I've got notes sketched out here that I'm working on a video I'm going to make after hours, because it doesn't really pertain to real estate. But one of the videos I'm going to make is the top 5 things you guys all do. And when I say you guys, it's like my Facebook audience, the top 5 things you guys all do to irritate me on social media. And so I've got a list of those, and I'm just going to go over kind of my grievances. The other thing I like to do is when I've screwed up on my videos, you know, and I've just totally like biffed it, or I've cussed, or I've done something, or I've gotten frustrated, I will go and I'll shoot a blooper reel, and I'll just put like, 45 seconds of a blooper reel on my Facebook page, and that will get a ton of engagement. That will allow me to like interact with people over and over and over again. So I do that a lot. Yes, Eric, you can use Fiverr for cheap. I've used them a couple times, but I don't really, I just do it in iMovie. It's super, super simple. Anyone else? No? Well, guys, that's about all I've got on what I do for social media to
I have a
help.
question.
Yeah.
So when you create the list in Facebook and you say go in and you post that day for that list only, is it only those people seeing that list, seeing
Yep.
that post? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and it'll appear on your Facebook profile, but it's your page, so you see it. But yes, it will only go to that that person's that group's Facebook pages. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So don't say anything bad about anybody else.
Okay. For sure.
That would be terrible. Anyone else?
Chris, I don't know if you can hear me.
Somebody was speaking.
Yeah, it's me. I was just wondering if you leverage LinkedIn any differently than you do your Facebook account.
No, I do it the exact same way. In fact, I can show you my LinkedIn because I just posted. Hold on. I just posted there like 2 seconds ago. So no, I don't. Except LinkedIn is a great place because you can what I like about it is, so like that YouTube video I just showed you. So right now it's already gotten 14 views and I've just popped it up. But LinkedIn is probably where I get a lot of my business. And for whatever reason, like, okay, I get Keller Williams people, but I'm also HP. I already know who that is. But like someone in Anchorage, Alaska keeps watching my stuff, and people at CVS keep watching my stuff. So that's really cool. Oh, and I got a lawyer, a personal banker. I already know who Opus Bank is watching my stuff. Obviously a pharmacist. I don't know who that is. Scripps Health. I know who that is. That's one of my former anchors, but I have no idea who's watching my stuff in Anchorage, Alaska. But no, the answer to your question is I don't do it any differently. I do it exactly the same, only, you know, this is a professional network, so that way you can get away with a whole lot more on LinkedIn. So you can directly ask people for business. One of the things I've done in the past, I don't do it so much anymore, but I used to lead generate for expireds on LinkedIn. So I would literally find who owned the house, and then I would go to LinkedIn, and then I would find them on social media, and then I would send them a connection, and then just talk to them about real estate on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a socially acceptable platform for that, because it's all business. And if somebody gets offended by that, then you just don't want to work with them anyway. Because if they're smart, they're going to go to your LinkedIn profile and see that you've stacked it and that you've done a really good job with it. But yeah, I do it. I mean, it's just all business though. You don't really put any fluff there whatsoever.
Great, thanks.
I had a question.
Yeah.
You briefly talked about, sorry, I can hear myself in somebody else's. You briefly talked about how to tap into like the referral business on Facebook if you don't know anybody really in San Diego, which is my case. Do you just hope that people will ask you for like help in wherever they're moving, or is there a way to kind of tell people that that's an option?
Well, it all boils down to the value that you're providing people.
Yeah.
And you guys have such an opportunity with social media to make everything so entertaining that, you know, think about, you know, people love cooking shows and real estate shows. It's like, you know, real estate porn. They love it. They love seeing terrible houses. They love seeing crap. And they love seeing really expensive stuff. So show it to them. Because they're going to know, they're subconsciously going to start thinking, your name's Emily. Emily is really busy. I want to work with her, because you're always out and about. You're always doing something. But one of the things I would caution you is don't be like those D-bags on $1 Million Listing. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, because that's just tacky. I mean, it's absolutely tacky. You want to be seen as a professional, because no one's going to work with you if you're that person. They want to work with a professional. You know, that's entertainment. All that other stuff, that's entertainment. They want to work with a professional. So show yourself that you're a professional. Insert yourself into the community. You know, whatever community you want to work in, the top five best coffee shops in downtown. You know, go and get. I did a video years ago where I was on the search for the perfect cup of cold brew in North Park, and I rated the top 5. I was wired. It was terrible, but it was probably one of the best things I ever did. I also did one on the best donut shop in North Park. So one of the things that you can do is go through, and it was funny because there's a video on my YouTube channel about the best taco shop in North Park, and I took Nancy with me, Nancy Perez, and we went to like 5 taco shops that people recommended. And by the time we got to the 5th one, we were so stuffed with tacos. It was terrible. I mean, like we couldn't even finish our tacos at the very end. And then we rated them, and then I put that out on social media, and everybody loved it because we were shooting this video of us eating tacos in all these taco shops. And then the woman of the first taco shop that we went to, it was hilarious because I was starving one random day, and I went and I was on my way to an open house at my client's house over in North Park. So I stopped in there to get a burrito, and the woman, she was so cute. She was like, "Oh, where's your friend? You guys are so much fun. Oh, we saw the video. Thank you so much." And she blasted it out on her page. So don't forget that you want to get involved in the community you want to work in. So like, for example, like I live in North Park. I've been here for over 20 years. And so I reach out to my community. I know all the business owners. That and I used to be part of I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce. So I got a lot of people involved that way. So now I walk into most places and people recognize me. And what's going to end up happening to you guys as you start seeing your social presence online and you start seeing people engaging more with your stuff, people are randomly going to walk up to you. Okay, this was just, I've had two very weird instances, but it was just like, it was kind of creepy. The first one, I was at Inside Out in Hillcrest, and I was sitting there. I remember it was Sunday. I was with my friends. We were drinking. I was a little bit buzzed, and this woman walks up to me and she goes, "I know you don't know me, but I know you're Chris Spade." She says, "I'm friends with so and so and so and so in Los Angeles, and they've told me I need to reach out to you. So I'm glad I finally got to meet you." I ended up selling her a house. So it was just like really weird and really random because her friends who are real estate agents in Los Angeles recommended her to me. And then another time I was walking down the street in Hillcrest, and this guy stops me and says, he was with a few of his friends, and he goes, "Oh, you're Chris Spade." He said, "I know you. I follow you on Instagram all the time. I love your stories." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And he said, and then his friends turned around and said, "Oh no, he's not following you. He's stalking you." And I said, "Stalk, follow, I don't care as long as you buy a house. No difference to me." So you're going to start getting a lot of that traction coming up. And then, you know, you can go back and follow that person on social media and get to build a relationship with them that way. And then eventually sell them a house. So there's so many ways you can do it, but you don't necessarily have to stick to like, you know, your sphere. Go out and meet these people. Business owners love to talk about themselves. And if there's a way that you can put their business in front of your audience and maybe raffle off, I don't know, a gift card, a $30, $50 gift card, depending on what it is, or you know, you host a dinner party. One of the best things I ever did this year, because you know, we can't have client parties, right? That's my big thing. I did an online cooking class. And so I got a bunch of people online. Several of the agents in the office actually joined because I really didn't care, but it was a lot of my clients. And then some of my clients gave their friends the link and they tagged them in the post on Facebook so that way they could go buy all the ingredients, and we made dinner together and drank on Zoom, and it was one of the best things that I could have done. And then and now I'm connected to all those people that I was able to do it. So there's so many ways that you can do it. You just need to really think outside of the box. So you don't need to necessarily, you know, ask your people, provide that to them. They're going to know you're a real estate agent. And then, but you can go tour a house like, "Oh, I toured this house today. Who do you know that wants to buy this house?" Trust me, you'll get people responding. No problem.
Cool, thank you.
All right, anyone else?
I have a question, Chris. Chris, in regards to social media, Facebook versus Instagram, can you pinpoint the differences? You seem to spend a lot of time on Facebook, but you have mentioned not only that you also use Instagram, but you have a personal and a business Instagram. Can you touch a little bit more on pros and cons of one versus the other?
There isn't. There isn't. They're owned by the same company. So your content is being pushed out the exact same way. It's all about how do you engage people. You have to engage people. So it's not, one is not worse than the other. Facebook, you're going to get an older crowd. Instagram, you're going to get a younger crowd. So Alicia spends all her time on Facebook because she's old. And that's what happens when you get old.
Okay, so I should go on Instagram then.
Yes, I go to Instagram because I am young and attractive and people like looking at me.
You might have all figured out that Chris is a joker too. He's not being serious.
No, I'm young and attractive. That's not a joke. But yeah, your crowd is going to skew older on Facebook. Your crowd is going to skew younger on Instagram, but you need to be in both places. So go to both places. That's what you need to do. Just like you need to be on LinkedIn. Everybody needs to be on LinkedIn. All right, is that it?
Well, I'm going to ask just some follow-up questions too. So
Yeah.
I think it's important, everybody, you've all learned a lot of stuff today, like he's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You're like, oh God, I got to set all this up. You know what? Just kind of start with one. Chris didn't start with all. He started with one, and he just slowly has built a library over time. And I think, Chris, if I can ask, you know, if there's never been a better time with this pandemic, with eyes being on people on social media or on the web, because we were all in our houses.
Right.
Do you feel that actually helped increase your traffic?
Because it did. And the reason it did is because people were sitting at home and they were bored. And so because people were sitting at home and they're bored, I mean, there's a lot of people still sitting at home and they're bored. And then there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of people you're silently inspiring with the things that you're doing, whether it be cooking or working out or, you know, working with, you know, pets or becoming debt free. There's all these things going on in your life that you think are not important and they're not sexy and they're not fun, that you're actually inspiring people. And so, you know, people are bored and they want to be motivated, right? And so there's a lot of people watching you, and like, for example, when this whole pandemic hit, you know, like I said, I will probably never go back to doing another open house again, because why would I go to an open house where I might get 20 people walking through the door and you got to do all this work that, you know, we've taught you, and trust me, I've taught people how to do open houses. Why would I do all this work, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of preparation to get maybe 15 people through the door, to maybe get one sign up, to maybe have to do 10 open houses to collect 10 names to get one sale? You know, I mean, there's like all this stuff that can be done at a higher level. Or you can go do a virtual open house, engage with your people, your followers online all over the United States, right? And you're dropping value, you're showing that you're working, you're knowledgeable about the property that you're showing, and you're getting 2, 3, 4, 500 views in a day. Where's the best ROI? So you just have to ask yourself where those things are. But Robert's right, I didn't do this all at once. I did it, you know, a lot of this stuff is over the years. None of this was, you know, overnight. I spend a lot of time on this. So yes, I think being on social media and think of it this way. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about creating yourself into a brand and making yourself your own media company. That's what you need to think about. You need to think that you are your own media company. And so right now I have a YouTube channel, I have Facebook, I have LinkedIn, I have Instagram personal and business page. I've got a podcast that is on, I don't know how many platforms. I've got, you know, just my personal Facebook page where people are staring at me, wondering what's going on in my life. So there's all this stuff going on. So you just have to take it in bit by bit, but start with one. Don't start with all of them all at once. And by the way, I block this stuff out. So if I make a video, it's in my calendar that this is the video I'm making. I've got an outline of what I'm going to make, how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do, and just do it.
So I think the message on this is that, you know, you're building a platform, you're building a media company, and it's time on task over time. If you're a brand new agent listening, you're like, oh, I don't have any business right now. Well, we're in a different environment, but there's never been a better time now more than ever to have social media tools that you have that don't cost a dime. Pretty much if you master it, you don't have to spend a dime in marketing or advertising. So it's the best time to be a real estate agent, because you can build a business without spending a lot of money to market it.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the last question is, if you were to give your 2006 self a bit of advice, 2006, 2007, what would be a little bit of advice you'd give them? your 2006 self?
Well, since I got in the business in 2007, technically, I will talk to my 2007 self. First thing I would do is couple things. So I'm going to give you guys a couple pieces of advice. First and foremost, when you get that commission check, save 30% for your taxes. Do not, under any certain terms, not have enough money to pay your taxes. That is number one. Second of all, do not go out and buy that fancy BMW, because I'm going to tell you right now, there are some of you driving very expensive cars that aren't on the top 20 list, and I know who you are. And I know some of you are stressing out about making that lease payment or that car payment. And I will tell you, Alicia's laughing, but it's true. I just got rid of my hoopty 2 years ago. I drove my freaking Mitsubishi Lancer into the ground, literally drove it into the ground. And when I had to buy a new car, I financed it for 1 year and paid it off in 1 year. And I bought myself a Hyundai Excel. Or no, what do I have? Not an Excel. They don't make those anymore. I have a Hyundai Accent. That's what I got. So don't go buy yourself an expensive car. Save 30% for your taxes. Put money in your savings account, because trust me, you guys might have really good months. And then all of a sudden, bam, you don't close anything. And let me just tell you, in 2008, when the market crashed, and it crashed hard, I remember, and Robert was there, because we were all broke. Oh my God, we were all broke. We were going up to Albertsons and getting 10 packs of pasta for $10. And then we were getting 10 jars of Prego for $10. And we were all just eating pasta, and we were all going to the 99-cent store buying our body wash. Trust me, it was a different time. But what I learned from that is, make sure you save your money, because you don't know what's happening. And I'll tell you that we are entering a very uncertain time. We're all growing through this together, because we're in this pandemic. And if you, business is good right now, and if everything is going well for you, that's fantastic. I'm doing very well. But let me tell you, my savings account is huge right now, because it could all fall off a cliff tomorrow. We have an election coming up. We don't know what's going to happen. And I would advise all of you, do not frivolously spend your money. Save it. Save it, save it, save it, save it, save it, save it, save it. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. That was great information today. I appreciate your time. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all implement some of the stuff that Chris has taught today. Tomorrow we get started at 10 o'clock with Clarissa, Coach Clarissa, Coach's Corner. We're going to talk about the big why and what's going to empower you to do all this stuff. We'll kick that right off at 10 o'clock. And don't forget, we're going to also review tomorrow the daily activities you should be doing that are income producing, that will actually get money in your pocket as soon as possible. Well, with that said, I hope you guys have had a great day. And Eric Harris says, thank you. This is going to help his media marketing. Think media. Everybody's coming in. Thank you, Chris. This was great. This has been such great information. Glad we kicked off Ignite with Chris. So great job, guys. And we will see you guys all tomorrow.
Bye.